Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jimothy Show. You've made it. It is Saturday, March 1st. My voice is back. You're back. We're here together. We're live right now, or, maybe you're listening later, but I'm live and you're live if you're here with me on X, on YouTube, and on TikTok. What's popping, TikTok? Good to see you. Glad you're here. So we're streaming a little bit everywhere, trying a few new things today on the live show. But if you're listening later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, it's all going to sound the same. And let me just tell you, it is a day. And if you don't know, it's Mardi Gras Day around here. It's Mardi Gras in the South, which if you grew up in the South, it is an interesting place to be at Mardi Gras because people just take a week off like that no one else gets. The kids get like a week off of school for some reason, and they still get like a winter break. They get like a winter break, a fall break, a spring break, and Mardi Gras. Why? Because the whole place shuts down, and it's already started shutting down today. It's yeah, where I live, they've just ran a huge Mardi Gras parade through the town. People come in from all over the place to be part of the Mardi Gras parade, and it's kind of nuts. It is a big deal. My kids, my little Jimothys, go absolutely crazy for it, and they love catch and throws. They love being able to see what's coming off those floats. And I grew up in New Orleans, and in New Orleans Mardi Gras is an exciting place to be. It can be pretty dangerous. There's a lot of people that, over the years haven't made it home from a Mardi Gras because they get under one of the floats and there's just so many people that are there. And so that always got like crammed into my brain as something to be extremely careful about. But, where I live locally now, it's pretty tame, pretty fun. And so I've had plenty of sun and sunscreen and catching throws today. Throw me something, Mister. The whole thing. So it's been Mardi Gras time, no doubt about it. And we're gonna be taking some time, taking the little Jimothys, both of my little girls. We're going on a trip to Universal Studios, Florida. We're going to take advantage of the time away, and I think it's super important to be able to take that time when they're young. And we went to Disney World, lucky enough to be able to go a couple years ago, and now we're taking them to Universal Studios. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself in a way because the trick with Universal Studios is you really have to care about the movies, and Universal has a ton of movies that people love, or they've signed deals to have in the park things that people love. For example, uh, Harry Potter, which is like Warner Brothers, but it shows up at Universal theme park. So they've done some deal where Harry Potter is at Universal. Believe it or not, as much as like Disney owns Marvel and has for I think the better part of a decade, what they end up having is all the Marvel stuff is at Universal. So like if you want that, if you want to be a part of Marvel, that's going to be at Universal Studios. So all the rides are there. Spider-Man, the Hulk. Can't wait to go on the Hulk. It's been like 14 years since I've been on that Hulk ride. And it's a heck of a show, heck of a ride. Um, so there's a lot, but it's funny because my kids haven't watched the Jurassic Park movies, and there's a whole Velocicoaster ride, and they haven't seen those movies. They're a little too tough for them still. They haven't seen a lot of the horror movies or anything that Universal has. They have a bunch of new content, new rides that are going to be coming out at Epic Universe sometime soon, and they haven't seen any of that, and they probably won't. But they have seen Poe the panda from Kung Fu Panda. They've seen the Minions movies, so there's going to be plenty of stuff there. I think there's going to be a lot that they'll like at Universal, but it's funny. Like I have to look up, and when we went to Disney, like they knew everything. They knew everything. Go to Universal, it's like let me check the list. Let me make sure they've actually watched any of these movies. I can't be sure if they have. So yeah, super glad you're here. We're gonna start. I'm gonna start packing as soon as this show is over. As soon as this episode. But what is it like? If you're joining me live, there's a bunch of you here, a bunch of you out on TikTok, X, and YouTube Live. Welcome to the Jimothy Show. This is the only X First podcast on the internet. That's how it started, and now I'm broadcasting live on 3 restreams, uh, all over the place. But what does it mean, right? There's so much news and conversation that happens on X, especially this week, if you're following like political landscape, and this is not a political show. Though some people say that the cereal rankings are political. We're going to find out when we rank some cereal later. But there's so much happening that it ends up on X. So I end up spending a lot of my free time there and on TikTok, and I bring the stuff that I'm interested in here in this podcast to you. So if you're part of the show, feel free to chat me. I'm happy to interact a little bit during the show. But it's basically a podcast. Like if you are following me, you can also catch it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and listen to it later because it's going to be a show. It's a weekly show. Glad to have you here. We're on episode 9. And so, why do you care about me at all? Who is Jimothy? Because I'm anonymous, right? You're not seeing my face in the broadcast unless you think I'm wearing the Spider-Man mask, and I am. Uh, but who am I, right? So I'm anonymous on social media on purpose because I'm not independently wealthy, and therefore, for me, I don't even think I say anything that controversial. But I don't want to get canceled. I'm not there yet. I'm not independently wealthy. I still want to hold that job down. So I'm anonymous. But I've worked in tech and consulting and retail, bartending, waiting tables, installing appliances, stocking shelves, mowing lawns. I'm a family man, a gamer, a fan of technology, a social commentator. And Grok, the AI that's built into X, says that I got a pretty good account there. 3 out of 5, it rates me, which I think as an amateur is pretty good. So yeah, Mardi Gras, Universal Studios, man, there's been a lot going on. If you've been to Universal Studios and you've got like the hot tip, the hot trick, like please let me know. Let me know what's going on at Universal so you can help me out. That'd be cool. Send me your tips. Follow me at James Baratheon and send me your tips. All right, let's do a little show feedback. Yeah, I think it's a good time for that. So show feedback for the week. We had okay, when I say for the week, let me be clear. Let me back it up a second. It's been 2 weeks since we've done a show. And the reason why is because I got sick, like right in the middle of it, and I got the kind of sick that you really can't just ignore. It's the kind of sick that you have to be able to have a voice for to do this show, some energy. I don't know what I got, the crud, something. Uh, but it was not the kind where I could bring my full energy to the show. And I was like, you know what? We're going to skip a week. It'll be off schedule. It is what it is, but it's better than doing a bad show. So we skipped a week. In the intervening week, at least in the live stream that I'm showing here on my X account, the Jimothy Show Live, episode 8, we got over almost 900 views of the show, which is a new record. And it's a big deal. 5,000 views of the post, but almost 900 views of the show. I'm up to a couple hundred views, I think, on the podcast platforms, but this is the biggest where most of my folks follow me by far, though TikTok's coming around. There's more people joining and paying attention to me over there, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Amy Anders said, uh, Amy Anders said, you know what she liked about the show was that I just kind of walk around X a little bit and show what's going on. She said, "Dude, what a cool idea. I love how you went around X and talked about the different posts." Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I got a bunch of stuff here. We're going to talk about it live, and I love showing it off. So if you want to be on the show, throw me some show feedback, tag me on X. You might show up on the show, get a little shout out, and be a part of it. So, yeah, but the big thing about it is that it's almost 900 views. To me, huge record. To some folks, not a big deal. Also made a couple of changes to the show in part because of this feedback and because of getting my approval to stream live on TikTok and hello. Is that I've dropped Twitch. Twitch as a platform doesn't hold the replays for you. So I've learned that like my podcast shows and my streams were like dropping off. Maybe there's some way that you can make Twitch hold it. Maybe you can pay them some money or you become a certain status and they'll keep your recordings. But I was like, if you're going to drop all my stuff off, like I don't love that. So it's X, it's YouTube, it's TikTok. TikTok doesn't seem to keep it around either, but it's such an interesting platform that it's made me broadcast in portrait mode today. So like that's how far off I'm going is like, let me broadcast in portrait mode because I think that's what the folks on TikTok might like. We'll find out. Okay. It is an important time in the show, and there's something very special that we like to do here. I've started a list. It's called The List. and it is a list of the best cereals. I would like to preface this list for a minute and let people know that I don't mean every cereal you've ever tried. I don't mean every cereal I've ever tried. I mean the number of cereals since I've started the list, which was recent, was this year, and there's 5 of them on there as of today. We're going to add a sixth of the best cereals, and it is scientific. I use the same milk, the same bowl, the same spoon. I don't rank it when I'm sick. I skip the show for that. And it is official. So when you see the ranking, you will know that it's the real deal. So what do we have so far? I've only got 5, so I can rank them down. Eventually, this list will get large. I do one cereal every show. Coming in at number 5, down at the bottom of the list, Post Raisin Bran. That's very specific. It has to be Post because Raisin Brands are like a very different. You can get some wild differences in Raisin Brands, as you might know. So it's got to be Post Raisin Bran for its count. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the regular Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I guess I would say. And then Fruit Loops, and then Lucky Charms. And then our number one is the original Captain Crunch. So that's the list as it stands today. But I have just finished a bowl of Golden Grams, and we're going to rank it live on the show. Now, people say, I've had some folks at Monkey in the Machine who follows me on X said, hey, why don't you rank them by, why don't you put in like texture and aftertaste and the bouquet and the feel of the cereal? And that's a lot of work. What I do is I condense all of that information down into the science of my brain, and then I write the name on this list, and then it is official. And I'm going to do that right now. Golden Grams is absolutely our new number 4. It's not better than Fruit Loops, but it is better than Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now, I know that's upsetting to some of you. Maybe you think it should be higher or lower, but this is science, and that is the list. And thank you for being part of it today because it had to happen, and it could have only happened exactly the way that you just saw it. Next week, we'll do another cereal. So if there's another one you want to see, just let me know. I keep a separate list for the cereals I'm going to do next. you have to, you have to have multiple lists. One of them is the cereal I'm going to do next. So, all right, that's enough of that. Let's talk about what's been going on X. Yeah, so there were some new announcements that came up last week about or on X about a new type of product. There's constantly these new um, AI products, right? There's AI everything, really, but specifically, it's products that use AI, but they are themselves, um, a fancy piece of hardware of some type. And so that's what this one is. It's got a little bit of AI built into it. I'm trying to make the screen look just right so you can see it. Can't. I'll just fail at that. And it's Mark. It's at Mark Hardware. Mark, $129 AI bookmark that helps book readers remember everything. And if you're watching it live, I'll describe it. They've got this little. It looks like a bookmark. No surprise there, given the name. It kind of looks like a bookmark, and it would go into your paper books. And it's got a little knob on the side and a little screen at the front, at the top of it, that would stick out of the book. And you just kind of like move the knob to tell it what book you're putting it into, because I guess it doesn't know, what book you're slotting it into. And then it says, okay, these are the books I'm reading. And so this is the book I just read. And I just finished page 70 to 82 of The Creative Act. And then it will give you like a summary of the book up to that point and maximize your intellectual potential. So it's gonna use what it knows about the bookmark to make that happen. And so I immediately replied, "Oh, sweet, a friend for my humane AI pen to hang out with." because if you don't remember the Humane AI pen, they made a little pen that you were going to wear on your shirt, and it had a camera and a speaker, and it would always be listening. And in a way, it's kind of like those Meta glasses where you have, a battery and a computer and everything built into the glasses, and then it connects to your phone to reach out to the internet and you grab the context about what's going on around you, and then provide you with information. So this one even had some cool like hand to hand interfaces, like where it would beam a menu onto your hand, and then you could use hand gestures to interact with the computer. And everybody was like, "Why isn't this just an app? Why is it a you know?" And what they're trying to do is create some type of cybernetics, right? Some situation in which you're going to wear some hardware so that it's able to be functional. Your phone always in your pocket, right? Unless it's out, but if it's out, you're using it. But it's always in your pocket, so it can't be constantly ready to record things around you or listen. Even though some people think it does listen. So putting it on your shirt allows it to do that. Same thing with the Meta glass. Hey, you're wearing the glasses. It sees what you see, it hears what you hear, and it's always in your head, so it never gets shoved into a pocket or a purse. And therefore, it can do its business. You can just tell it to record, and it starts recording, and it's just like it should, just where it should be. But the Humane AI pen failed. They went bankrupt, and they recently let you know that it does have offline features. So that after the company shuts down, or I guess the company technically got bought by, I think, HP, Hewlett Packard, and and what they're going to be doing in there is uh, like redistributing their technology across, you know, the printers, so that the printers will be able to tell you, when you're out of ink or whatever. But they said, hey, the Humane AI pin that you might have paid $200 for or whatever, yeah, it's shut down, but it has offline features such as telling you what the battery percentage is. Thanks, Julian Shalaby down below said, "My Rabbit R1 needs a friend too." So there's a bunch of these like AI hardware devices that people are trying to build that would, maybe there's just should be apps, but by making them a physical object, you interact with them in a different way, and maybe the physicality of it is needed for it to really do what it should do. So I was pooping on it. I got 900 likes on this one. I was like, I don't think this makes a lot of sense. But then Mark came down came down in the thread. I can't remember where he said it, but uh, effectively he was like, "Hey, what if there was a feature that when you opened up your book, you picked your book back up, and it would say previously on, and then give you like a text with what was going on last, what was most recently on the book." And I thought to myself, that's not a that's not a terrible idea. That was a pretty good idea. Because for me, I frequently will end up going back to a book after not having read it for a year or more, and end up in a situation where I don't remember what was happening when I was last here. And how am I supposed to figure that out? So I went from kind of, crapping on it a little bit to going, maybe, may- maybe they're on to something. $129, and it'll tell me when I pick the book back up that I haven't looked at in years or months or weeks, what was last going on. That could be pretty good. That could be pretty good. So uh, we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I recommend you do as well, I guess. All right. What else is happening on X? Um, Here's something that needs to be discussed. So if you're on X or TikTok or Spotify or any of these platforms, if you're a small account or a small creator, every one of these platforms has these mountains of tasks for you to do to entice you with monetization. It means they want to pay you to stick around and make content on their network. Every one of them. Everyone I'm on right now, if you're dropping in and listening to me on TikTok, every one of them everywhere. TikTok's got it, X has it, Facebook's it. If you get enough viewers, you get enough subscribers, you get just enough engagement, enough something, and then you can tip over and end up in the money. And like, wouldn't you love to get paid for what you like to do? Wouldn't you love to get paid to be just creating full time? Well, on X, they've had a big problem because they started a creator share revenue sharing program, and there's people that are supposedly manipulating it. And I don't know whether Sage of Sapien here on the screen has been manipulating it or not, but this is someone that every 2 weeks was making over $1,000 on X. And famously, he suggested that the reply guy strategy was the way for it to work. Hey, reply guys always win, is what they like to say. And it's not just Sage. I'm not picking on him. He's just being very transparent with his situation. And his situation was he was making thousands of dollars a month, pretty good part time job. You're just posting on X. And now he's not making anything. The rug got pulled. Things have changed. He's not making any money anymore. And why? He's saying, I don't know, right? Like, it's basically like, I don't know. I don't know why it's not happening. They're not telling me. And there's been big accusations, again, maybe about Sage, maybe not. I'm not trying to pick on him. Wherein they said, well, hey, if you are manipulating the platform by getting into reply groups and repost groups and relike groups to try and get a higher payout, then that's going to cost you. We're going to catch up to you. We're going to eliminate your account or figure it out. And so they have machine learning algorithms to try and find people that are messing with the platform, whether it's to get bad information out there or now that there's a monetary incentive, right? Like, why would we do anything but try and make sure that we're getting the most out of it, right? So yeah, Robert Finney says in the chat, hey Robert, yeah, we're talking about X earnings for a minute. We're talking about X earnings, right? Like our reply guys and the reply guy strategy, is it dead on X? And I just shared that Sage, one of the biggest reply guys, it's very famous, has been pulled. They basically said, hey, we think you're engaged in platform manipulation to try and pull money out of this unnecessarily. And the fact is, if you're a small account on X or anywhere on TikTok, anywhere, the only way to kind of get out there, well, I should say on X because there's two different things. I'll explain it. If you're on X and you want to get known, you want to try and find somebody new, have them find your content. The only way out is to go reply to other people. That is how the X algorithm works. If you have a new account with no followers, no one will see your posts, no one will follow you, and people will just push content into the sun for 1,000 years and they'll never get a like or a response ever because that is not the way the X algorithm works. The X algorithm works when you post under other people's content and you are a premium or premium plus subscriber, they will see your content more often. And also, bigger accounts and people that follow bigger accounts will see people's content and then they might follow you. So, if you have like a banger reply, if you're funny in the replies, or if you add a lot of value, people might come to your profile and then follow you. And then they'll start seeing your content. That's the only way it works. TikTok is very different. TikTok has an algorithm. I don't know too much about YouTube's algorithm. I don't post a ton on YouTube, though this show is broadcasting live on YouTube right now. But I don't post a lot of short form content there. On TikTok, though, where I do post a fair amount, you'll see something totally different where I don't have almost anybody that follows me on TikTok, though you're welcome to. Be happy to have people follow me on TikTok. And if you're on TikTok and you post anything, doesn't matter what it is, the worst video, the dumbest thing, you just take a screenshot of one of your tweets and put some music to it, which I've been doing lately because I think I've got pretty good ideas and I just want to put them on TikTok. You just take a screenshot, put some music to it as a photo, and it will send it out in front of hundreds of people within seconds, maybe minutes, but usually seconds. And so there's so many users that just pushes that content out. And then if they interact with it, if someone sees your stuff and they like it, if they comment on it, if they save it, if they repost it, then it goes more and more and more. So the more, of the initial, like, it's like running experiments all the time. So if you get the, the first experiment down and you hit 50 or 60 or 100 views, which it's going to push it into somebody's feed, and they like it, it goes, man, this person's onto something. They got a good post. So we're going to push it further and further and further. And you can have it go for, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. I've had some on mine go for over 5,000, which for me is a nobody on TikTok, who was also, again, anonymous. Very difficult on TikTok to do things without showing your face. Um, it goes really far, farther than any of my posts on X will go, just because it's just different. Now, I've got about 1,000 followers on X right now, almost 1,000. And so, I'd say probably about 10% of them see my post in any given day. End up with like 80, 90, 100, 150 views on any random post I do. But the ones that go off for me are still under bigger accounts. So it's very network effect. It kind of works the way you think it would. But when you start getting on TikTok, you go, oh, if my single piece of content is exceptional, the world will see it. I have a chance to honestly go viral with any singular piece of content. TikTok, very different network. It's very interesting that way. So I kind of like posting on both because I go, nobody's seeing my stuff sometimes. Let me post this one on TikTok and see how it feels. And then it goes wild. And I was like, yeah, I thought that was a banger. I thought that was a good post. And TikTok doesn't, like, nobody goes to TikTok to go, let me read posts from X. And yet, sometimes we like those. You put those with a good piece of music, sometimes we like them. So I've been doing, I don't know, pretty well on TikTok for, having my account for only a couple of weeks. And yeah, but with Sage kind of posting here, they used to make thousands of dollars a month down to nothing, and doing a reply guy strategy on X, which is to say replying constantly to get other people to see his post and to get interactions and therefore get paid. They're cracking down on it. And though I feel bad for Sage because I don't want anybody to lose, a source of income that they feel like they worked for, as somebody who's trying way too hard to create original content and really just enjoying the creative process, I don't really want somebody to just do a reply guy strategy and make a ton of money. It doesn't feel good to me. So I like the idea that if I'm going to spend money and time on, software and hardware to do this show, the Jimothy show, or to uh, you know, just make something cool, that it might start to get an equal shot on X, just like it does on TikTok. So I think that's plenty on that topic. I will say something else that's been going on X in a big way since the last show 2 weeks ago. This is a weekly show, but 2 weeks ago we had a show because I got sick. Um, is that they released Grok. Grok is the AI that's normally just been built into X, but it is available anywhere. Like, you don't have to have an X. Well, maybe you have to have an X account, but I don't think so. Like, it's kind of separate now. So nowadays, you can just go to grok.com and see it. Kind of a big deal, and ask it anything. And so, you can just do it, and you don't have to have an X account. It's this whole AI all on its own. You can ask it deep search. Uh, you can ask it to think, which is a little different than deep search. So thinking for Grok is like slow down, like take it easy. Give me a thorough answer, but don't give me the whole, like, don't research the entire internet for me. So it has both. Like, I like it's like, give me something fast. I just need a quick, no problem. But if I want you to slow down a little bit, I'll click think. And if I want you to do a deep research, I'll hit deep search. And deep search is really incredible. So if you have it was going to be premium plus only subscription to X to give you access to this, but now they've opened it up. I think you can do searching just with a premium subscription, which is good because they've raised the price of premium plus like through the roof. Um, and there's the phone app. So I don't know if premium gets it or just premium plus, but if you're an X member, you can download the app on your iPhone, maybe Android, and it has X voice. There's no X voice here in the browser, but they do have it on the iPhone, and it is nuts. Like, they have like 18 plus types of chats in there. Some of them are funny, some of them are motivational, some of them are like they put out the girlfriend experience, or I guess they've added a voice to have the boyfriend experience there too. So that's been a big deal, like having this launch. And I don't pay for ChatGPT anymore. I've got this. Like, why would I go somewhere else? Like, this is um, an incredible LLM. It does really, really well. Now, I would still like it to, have them open up the API and be able to integrate. I work in tech. I'd like my programmers to be able to use this, like integrated into their developer platform. I don't think they're there yet, like they are with ChatGPT and Claude. Uh, and Perplexity, famously, Perplexity is where I would spend most of my time, or most of my searches was on Perplexity. It was so good and so good for free that I didn't even need to pay for it, and it was just what I used. So now I'm like, I don't even go to Perplexity. I just go here on Grok. Works pretty well. But it turns out that you don't even have to leave X now if you want to search with Perplexity. So Perplexity. Uh, oh, I had the wrong link. Where's my Perplexity link? There's an Ask Perplexity um, service now, built in. They've started up a new account called Ask Perplexity, and if you go there, then you can, without paying for anything, you can go ask Perplexity to help you, to give you a search, to give you a an answer to something, and you don't have to pay for. You don't have to go anywhere. You just tag it. So you just tag it, and it'll answer right there in X. So I'm say I had one recently. I had to go look for it. Well, maybe I can't find it. I don't know. Here we go. Gosh, there was so much Pokemon news this week. If only there was some cool way to keep up with it on X. Maybe we could just ask Perplexity to give us a concise summary of the announcements. And then if you could see it here, it says, and if you can't, I'll read it to you. It responded like immediately with a full like LLM, search response. And it said the Pokemon Presents 2025 event was packed with exciting announcements. And it talked about Pokemon Legends Z to A or ZA, Pokemon Champions, a new battle simulation game, and then updates for all the different card games that they have. Um, and they've talked about Pokemon Sleep, which what the hell is that? What is Pokemon Sleep? It's getting a Cresselia versus Darkrai event in March. Are people sleeping with the Pokemon? Is it like a? I almost want to. All right, let's do it. What the heck is Pokemon Sleep? Ask Perplexity. Like, let's just do it live and see what it says. Let's do it live. I'm going to give it a second, and then I'm going to kind of like click in and refresh here, and I think it'll have me. They say that they're prioritizing checkmarked like premium plus users because it does make a call out to the internet, um, out to Perplexity to do it. All right, it hasn't come back yet, but we'll see if it does. Hopefully, it will. We'll check back on it in a minute. So it's not exactly perfect, but it is neat that you don't have to have an account, you don't have to have anything else, and you end up with Perplexity kind of chatting with you. And Grok kind of does that. Like you can go ask Grok certain things. Like there's a Grok button now, right on every type of post. It says explain this post, and if you're a subscriber, you can hit it, and it will analyze the post and tell you what it is. And it's done it faster than Perplexity could because the Ask Perplexity app is it's an account and it has to slow down. All right, I have to read it though. I have to read what the heck Pokemon Sleep is. Pokemon Sleep, according to Grok, is a mobile game where players track their sleep patterns using a smartphone or a Pokemon Go Plus device, turning sleep data into an interactive experience where users can encounter and befriend sleeping Pokemon. Th- Does it plug it into your brain? Like monitor sleep, rewards longer sleep with higher scores, encouraging healthy sleeping habits. So, like, hey man, you're really into Pokemon, but we'd like you to slow down just a scooch, and maybe you can try and like sleep instead. And sure enough, there's. All right, there's Ask Perplexity. They're back. So now I got the grok details, but there it is. Ask Perplexity basically says the same thing. Gamifying the sleep process, uses the phone's sensors. You can interact with a Snorlax, which is the most appropriate Pokemon to have in your like sleeping event. Robert Finney in the chat says, I think they lost the plot on this one. I'm not going to lie. I can't tell if that's about the Ask Perplexity making its own app as an account that will talk back to you, or if it's about Pokemon Sleep. Either one is acceptable because the Ask Perplexity was pretty quick, but I still had to wait quite a while for it to show up. But Pokemon Sleep seems, whew, it's like its own thing. Uh, okay. we, this show is rolling on and we have so much show left, so I'm going to skip a couple of things that happened on X. We were going to talk about my most popular post since we last met. No thanks. We're going to do a quick health check on the egg. Does anybody remember what the egg is? The egg the egg is like this little it's like a goof account. Like we thought like maybe they're going to sell like a you know crypto or something. Um, 51% of the egg that we've been following for months has been cracked. Welcome to the egg junkyard. And they have this picture of an egg that's like in a robot chair, like Dr. Robotnik, cracking other eggs. I've lost the plot. Like, I have no idea what's going on with the egg anymore. It started just with an egg picture, and every day it would get a little more cracked open and leading to what? We don't know. Percentage Egg is the account. It has 138,000 followers, and it's only following one account. Who? Egg Co. Bringing you the future of the world through eggs since 2047. Excuse me? Okay. This is starting to get more weird. Live on the show? I didn't. Oh my God. There's like a whole egg company here. Okay. I can't do this live. I can't. I can't. I can't do a I love bees live on the show. It's too weird. If you haven't taken a look at the egg, take a look at the egg account at some point. That's our quick check on the egg. All right, now we're moving on. Next segment is called, as always, You're Watching What? And if you've been following me for a while, you probably know that I've been watching Severance. And before we talk about Severance, I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you with the mantra, our mantra, the one we always have. The mantra here, before we talk about anything with media, books, movies, music, any spoilers that you think might come up, the mantra is I can't wait to see how that happens. It does not matter if you have seen the show, it doesn't matter if you're caught up. We're going to talk about it. And it is a mantra for you to say, I can't wait to see how that happens. And then you're free. You're free to check out the best content in the world and not worry about whether you're caught up and talk to the people that are interesting to you and that care about the content you care about when you're having the conversations. I tell the story frequently. It's a little dark, but I'll sum it up for you. I had a friend and mentor, two friends, but one friend that was also a mentor, talking about the show Lost back in the day, like 15 years ago. And I hadn't seen it. I wasn't caught up. And I kind of ran out the room and I never had that conversation with them. And my mentor is now moved on from this world, and I'll never be able to know what he thought about the ending of Lost because I wasn't caught up. And wish I would have set myself free by saying, you know what, whatever they tell me, they're just going to ruin the end of the show for me. But I can't wait to see how that happens. And then you're free. You're free to talk to the people you like about the content that you want to see when they're ready to talk about it, and it doesn't bother you. So I can't wait to see how that happens in Severance. We're seeing an incredible transition that is available on the Severance TV show. Severance has done some incredible cinematography. It's a sci-fi show about these office workers that have taken the severance procedure, which is to separate their outer work lives and memories from their inner work lives and memories. And effectively, they have almost two personalities. They have this inside personality or innie that sees and remembers only work. They have their outside personality, which is what everybody's used to. Um, but they don't use any CGI in the show, except for like the opening credits or whatever, which is animated. But they don't use any AI in the show. And there's this incredible clip where we're moving the camera through floors of the Severance working floor, and apparently there's a sub basement or other floor where they're watching the severed workers do their mysterious and deep work, and it looks like a CG thing, and they've said no CG. It's all cinematography. It's all the real shot. And so there's so many layers to the Severance show. There's the content, the plot, the actors and actresses we care about, but then the cinematography and the music is just incredible. But none of that matters. And the reason it doesn't matter is because the only thing that does matter is that I was right. I was right. In Severance, when you have your innie, it turns out, excuse me, you can
Me.
have more than one innie. I have posted this on TikTok and on X, showing a graph of Helena and then Heliar and then other innies that she may have. And the last episode did not say that Helena has multiple innies, but it did say we finally got a good look at Gemma and where she's been. And Gemma has at least 6 to 8 more innies. And when she goes into certain rooms, she only remembers what's going on in that room. And there's one room where she's going to the dentist, and she's like, "Oh, I'm back here again." And the dentist is like, "You were just here 6 months ago." She's like, "No, I just walked out of the room." And so she's constantly going to the dentist. And then she has another innie that's constantly writing Christmas cards, and another innie that's constantly on a turbulent flight on a plane. Absolutely insane. And even more insane is I was 100% correct by my theory. I nailed it. No one has has given me any credit for it, so I'm taking it right now. I called it. That's my claim to fame, is that I was right about the innies and the multiple innies. Please watch Severance. Pretty sweet. What else might I watch next? It's very likely or possible that maybe tonight, after the Jimothys go to bed, I'll probably watch this on Max. It's uh, The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. So I think this is like an anime that they made a feature length film on and put it in movie theaters. And I don't know what it would take to get me to watch an anime in a theater, but this didn't do it. So it's going to take more than this. But the comfort of my chair at home, I'd watch this. Probably watch it next. If you've watched it, let me know. Is it good? It's bad? Yeah, let me know. Okay, we're moving on again. We're on to the next segment called "You're Reading That," and the answer is yeah. I'm reading something. So one of the things I'm reading is a book by Neil Stevenson, who is like a hard sci-fi author, and he's who he's written famously the book The Cryptonomicon, which is about a bunch of computer hackers, fictional, but a lot of like real life in there. And he has a very methodical way of writing. He's probably doesn't have the best prose in the world for literary agents. He describes himself as a Beowulf type of author, which is to say that people want to hear his stories and pass down from campfire to campfire. But he's not like a literary person. But Neil Stevenson writes tomes. He writes huge, long books, but they're all super nerdy. I'm a big fan. Anyway, he has a book that was, I don't know, not really a biography, and it's just some of his writing, and he called it Some Remarks. Some Remarks. And in the first chapter of it, he talked about how he likes to walk and he hates being stuck at a desk, which for an author that's got to type on a typewriter, maybe he did, maybe he uses a computer. I think he uses a computer. but he's stuck on a computer, but he hates being chained to a desk. He's talking about the health issues that are in there. Uh, he talked about this concept of Beowulf and Dante authors. Dante being authors that have patrons, and literary people that work at universities have patrons. The university is the patron for them to do their literary work, but most people aren't buying the books. And so sometimes he gets into situations where he's hanging out with Dante authors, but he is a Beowulf author. Anyway, it's just very interesting to just listen to him think and talk in a way that's different uh, than just reading his books. It was pretty cool. Okay, folks, this might be the next biggest segment of the show. And it's the Jimothy Gaming Minute, which is pretty funny because I've got a lot to talk about. I don't know if it'll be a minute. So the first thing up is I'd like to talk about some games that are kind of coming soon that I think are pretty sweet. I would really love for everybody to, um, you know, if you're into it, like let me know. The first one up is this 2D game that I just saw this week. They just announced it, and it is Terminator 2D No Fate, launching on September 5th, it says. And if you're a fan of Terminator, and if you're a fan of 2D games, this looks pretty good. Uh, yeah, time travel. John Connor. He's in the future. He's in the current day. It looks amazing. I realize this is not the full trailer. That I'm looking at it. It looks really good. I definitely plan to buy this one when it comes out. Good 2D games. There's a lot of 2D games nowadays. This one looks super good. What else is coming soon? The PlayStation Plus monthly games for March got announced, and two out of the three are like easy downloads for me. Uh, the Turtles Cowabunga collection. Play that with my little Jimothys. Going to be pretty excited about that. Sonic Colors Ultimate. Glad I never purchased that. Happy to get it for free. And the big one is a huge release that's pretty new called Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And if you're familiar with this game and some of the controversies around it, it is not surprising to see it on the kind of free subscription service already. And I mean, I guess it's a little surprising to know that it's kind of being sent out to pasture already. Usually what's in these games or these services are games that are a little bit older that they're not going to be selling much of anymore. And I guess the sales are really stopped on this thing because they've put it out on PlayStation Plus. So people in the comments really crying about it. It's already free. Um, yeah, people that paid full price for it. Like, when did this launch? Like this thing just came out a month or two ago. Like the controversy of some of the design choices in the game haven't even settled down, and here it is for free. So, am I going to download 100 gigabytes worth of Dragon Age: The Veilguard? Probably not. Probably not with how much else is going on in games. I don't think I'm gonna. I'll tell you what I might download. I'll probably buy. I'll buy it. I don't even know if I'll have time to download it. It's Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I guess this came out on the Wii U. I didn't have a Wii U. Most people didn't have a Wii U, but they have remastered what is apparently an incredible JRPG, Japanese role playing game, and put it on the Nintendo Switch. And it comes out, I don't know, this month, March 20th, it says. And apparently, you're running around on this planet, and you're in a spaceship that's crashed, and you have to restart civilization. Sounds pretty good. And there's huge wildlife, maybe some traders from the ship that you have to fight. So there's probably some humans you have to deal with, as well as you know, baddies, different types of baddies. And at some point on Planet Mira, you end up with mechs, like flying mechs. So like it looks like, I can't believe this is on the Switch. This looks like it should be something on the Switch too. It is incredibly detailed and lush and huge design. These massive dinosaurs flying around everywhere. Like it just looks really exciting. And then the combat, I guess, is like some type of special JRPG style combat. But man, it's like, how are they going to get this done on the Switch? But I guess it was on the Wii U. It's already on the Wii U. So they've remastered it. They put in a bunch of new music, some new thing at the end of the game. And I wasn't really excited about that, but I followed Gene Park, who has been doing games for a long time and is like one of the few full time games journalists. And I actually think he's good. Uh, Games journalism gets a weird rap and a bad rap, sometimes a well deserved bad rap. But I think Gene's worth following on X. And he loves Xenoblade. He's been playing it and chatting about it. And I was like, man, I think I'm going to buy Xenoblade. I don't know how I get out of. I don't know how I get out of this without buying Xenoblade. It looks really good. I'm obsessed with
Vehicles developed.
the vehicles that you end up flying in. These huge mechs that can transform into, water walking, desert scooting, high flying mechs. Yes, please. Like that looks really good. So I'll definitely be checking out uh, Xenoblade Chronicles X at the end of the month. The other thing I'm going to check out is um, Split Fiction. So if you're not familiar with Split Fiction, it is the new game that's coming from the developers of It Takes Two, which won like Family Game of the Year last year, year before, 2 years ago, at the Game Awards. And me and my 7-year-old little Jimothy, she loves playing It Takes Two. She asks me all the time, Dad, It Takes Two? Okay. And it's a split screen game. So there's always one person on the left side, always one person on the right side of the game. The controls are pretty simple, but it gets, puzzle solving and shooting and running and jumping and diving. And every level is a little bit different. They really introduce like a new concept every single level, which is wild. Uh, and if you didn't have a small daughter that wants to play with you, they had this was news, they have a Split Fiction friend pass and it's cross platform, so you could buy the game or they could buy the game on PS5, Xbox, or Steam, PC, and if and then they can download the game too, like the rest of the game, and play for free. So you could be on PlayStation 5 and your friend could be on Steam. You bought one copy and you're playing Split Fiction. Like that's pretty cool. It's very like, forward looking, forward thinking. What else? Here's some stuff I'm playing right now. So right now, especially after the impact of the latest Severance episode, which I 100% correctly predicted that there are multiple innies. I played RoboCop Rogue City for the first time. So that's like it's like a B game. If you haven't played a B game, you've only been playing these AAA frontline games. It's kind of like a B game. Like not everything in it's great. It's got a little jank. It's a licensed movie game. But man, the shooting's good. It's a lot of fun. There's clear upgrade paths and XP flying all over the place, and you get all the sounds from the movies. So if you were a fan of the RoboCop movies, RoboCop Rogue City got it for $20 on PlayStation 5. Uh, Pretty sweet. What else have I been playing? I kind of went on like a game buying spree. So I've been playing a little bit of all of these. So Lords of the Fallen, which is a sequel set like 1,000 years in the future to Lord of the Fallen. It's like a Dark Souls game or one of those really tough Souls like games. And except it seems so far, I'll just tell you, it does not seem as difficult so far as Elden Ring. Elden Ring, like, wrecked me. Like, it is very difficult. But Lords of the Fallen, pretty, it's creepy. Can't play it with the little kids around. But it seems a lot more forgiving than Elden Ring, which makes me think, okay, here's the style of game. It's still hard, but a little bit easier sounds good. Like I'm that kind of pains. Like I need it to be a little easier, I think. So what else? Oh yeah, I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, but the first one, not the newest one. So if you haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance yet, it is it's like a bohemian simulator. I've been following this non-premium Sean Astin, aka the enraged potato, who has been continually pushing out these photo mode of Kingdom Come Deliverance, and you got to look at like these castle designs. It's like 15th century uh, Bohemia, somewhere in Europe. Uh, Geography is my kryptonite, but I like these castles. Horses are pretty good. So it kind of feels like Skyrim, and it's always first person mode. I know you can pop out of that now into third person, but um, like it's got this incredibly realistic look, and they care about the dialogue. You know, they have these really nice dialogue trees, and I've just enjoyed it so much. And Sean's like really like gotten me into it. So I'm just like showcasing his account now here live on the show because he just takes these great photos. And man, the first one, which was like $10 on PlayStation, I was like, okay, for $10, I'll get the one that's a few years older. Take a look at it, see if I like the style of the game, and it is incredibly good. So if you're into medieval style games and swords and no magic, there's no like it's pretty. And I mean, maybe there's a turn later, where the magic shows up, but it seems extremely realistic, and it's almost a simulator. Like there was no option that I saw. I guess you could choose the difficulty, but there was no option I saw for like, oh, do you want it to be a simulation where you have to eat? But guess what? You have to eat. But there's food all over the place, and it's kind of fun to eat. I don't know. I, I don't play like survival games really, but this one has like you have to eat and you have to sleep. And if you don't do those things, you're not gonna make it. Like you'll start to pass out and stuff. So that's been fun. What else did I play? Oh, one last thing. I did play the Monster Hunter Wilds beta test and confirmed that that game is still not for me. It's for 1.3 million people playing simultaneously right now on Steam, but it's not for Jimothy. So, like, I get it. I think I played through the beta. I killed one of the first, I guess, monsters. I killed one of the monsters. It feels so rough to say, um, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of build up, and maybe the payoff's great, but it was a little too much for me in the demo. So I'm passing. It's not for me. I tried it. Hope everybody's enjoying it. And yeah, plenty of gaming, but probably not a ton of gaming, for me this week, right? Because what? Universal Studios. So I'll go there. Okay, we're coming towards the end of the show, and it's time for the last segment. The last segment is called Deep Thoughts with Jimothy. So here's what I'd like to share with you this week. There's a post from Teoki earlier this week that said, every person you love has a version of you in their head that is slightly wrong. When you die, that's all that's left of you. Dozens of distorted echoes, none of them truly you, just fragments warped by their own biases and memories. You will never be truly known. It was kind of dark. And I responded, okay, fine. I'll go play with my kids to increase the echo of me in their brain. And I thought it was a great philosophical post, even though it was a little dark. He's trying to be kind of edgy, and he is. And it's true, though, right? We constantly deal with people not seeing you as you are, and the way the human brain works, not even you see you as you are all the time. You see yourself as the way you perceive yourself today, which is influenced by hormones and memory loss and all kinds of other things. So have some grace for yourself. That's what I would say. But yeah, I think that I'm happy that my kids are old enough now that were I to, I don't know, go on a business trip and get in some accident or something, they'd still remember me. I think that's pretty important. And Yeah, let's go spend time with the people we care about so they have a better shape of us in their brain. I think that's my deep thought. Uh, yeah, so that's been the show, everybody. Man, so good to be back after 2 weeks. Should be back on the weekly schedule as of now. This has been episode 9. Episode 10, we got to do something special, I think. We talked about a lot. Talked about Mardi Gras and Universal Studios and whether you should even go if you don't like all the movies. Talked about how I had almost 900 views in the last show. Thank you for being with me here today, live, or listening to the show, or watching it later on X or YouTube or TikTok. We ranked another cereal, everybody. Golden Grams. It's our new number 4. I'll post the list later. It is scientific, infallible, and it'll be updated again next week. We talked about the buddy for the humane AI pen that's been lost, Mark, the new $129 bookmark with AI in it. Not sure if I'm buying one of those. Talked about how reply guys might be dead on X. You might have to make your own serious content like the Jimothy show and not just try and reply to each other for views. Hopefully. I talked about AI, Grok, the premium and premium plus version of Grok, Perplexity, how you can just ask it things now by hitting Ask Perplexity on X. We checked in on the egg. I still don't know what's going on with that thing. We've been watching Severance. Maybe we'll watch War of the Rohirrim. And we've been reading some remarks by Neil Stephenson. And lastly, the Jimothy Gaming Minute. Man, we really went through it. Terminator 2 D, No Fate. Dragon Age of the Veilguard comes to PlayStation Plus. Who's playing that? Xenoblade Chronicles X. I guess it'll be my first one of those I ever play. I don't think I've ever played one. And I'm definitely going to be playing Split Fiction very soon. But in the meantime, it's Robocop, Lords of the Fallen, Kingdom Come, and not Monster Hunter. Now, I'm going to log off this show. Wish you the absolute best rest of your Saturday or day whenever you come back around to me. I hope to be here in your pocket on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or follow me on YouTube, TikTok, or X. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Have a great day. Bye.